the cylinder head porting using some small block Chevy 882 heads. It's kind of tough to see because it's dark in here, but first thing you want about porting is you want a lot of light. There you can see the 882, but basically first when we go over why we do some cylinder head porting, you can see where the valve rides, and there's all that extra material right in here, right there, all that stuff. That's kind of just getting in your way of your valve. So I mean, if you have big valves or small valves, it doesn't really matter if you got all that space in there. That right there is your limiting factor, not the size of the valve. So if you have 160 exhaust valves, 202 intake valves, measure that size on the inside, because that's really what you're getting out of it. So that's one thing I'm doing. Just going to do a little bit of opening up in the valves here. Going to unshroud the valves, kind of what they call it, just to allow more airflow through. Next, it's really easy to see because I didn't clean these heads up. Why we port the, just a gasket match on the exhaust. So it's kind of tough to see, but there we go. So that bigger circle there, that's where the header sits on this engine. And then you see that silver shiny stuff, that was the exhaust gasket. And that's where the gasket sits. So, I mean, it's already set on here, pretty easy for me to see. And we're losing all that area right there. The air's going through a small area, going faster, then it goes into a bigger area. The air actually slows down on its way out. So just kind of trying to gasket match this and just keep that flow of air going. And then again, we can see, again, because I didn't clean these heads yet, you can see where the intake gasket sits. And basically, that's, the intake air is coming into the valve, and the air over here on this side is just running right into that right there and creating turbulence right there, especially right there and over here. So I'm going to try to gasket match this, but these heads, I can feel all the way back up in here. There's not a lot of material in here. So I'm going to take out a little bit on the corners and try to smooth it through a little bit. Just kind of take the corners and blend it, but there's not a lot that I'm going to do. But every little bit, especially in this, it's definitely going to help. You can see how bad that's sitting on there, but yeah, there's a lot that can be done. Even just a little small changes they're going to be worth a couple horsepower at least, just allowing air into the engine. So that's what I'm going to go about. Just going to start going at it. Here we go. So I just put my flashlight underneath the head here, and it just kind of lights it up so I can kind of see what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm going to get started. I just got this regular, it's got a round nose on the burr, but yeah, electronic die grinder here. They work pretty good. But basically I'm just gonna go at it. I also do have a couple of different bits here, just in case I wanted to poke in there deep. I got this deeper edge, and then I got a smaller bit too. I don't have anything long, and I'm not going all the way deep into the runners or anything like that. I'm just opening up, unshrouding the valves, and doing some gasket matching. That's your basic stuff that you can do at home without too much worry that you're going to destroy the head. So that's what I'm trying to do, just get a couple extra horsepower out of it, not break anything, but just kind of have fun making a few more ponies out of it. Yeah, so I'm not sure how much you can tell I did, but I just kind of went around and smoothed out some of the edges there, opened it up a little bit, nothing crazy, just enough, but it's kind of tough to see, but you can see there's a straight comparison intake to intake, how much more bigger this hole looks. And I didn't go all the way deep in there and try to get rid of all that casting marks in there. If there was casting flash, I would try my best to get rid of that, but I don't see anything, nothing that I can reach from here. There's a mark all the way down in there. that little bump I might try to get from the intake valve side, but otherwise, yeah, I'm gonna consider this one done. I'm just using my finger. It feels smooth all the way around. There was a little bit of a hump on the back side there that I took out, and a little bit on the inside edges right there. Got rid of that, and it's pretty smooth. But I'm still gonna go in there with a sanding disc and try to kind of smooth out my edges that I made yet, and get those kind of a little bit smoother transition. Just, oh, where was it? Right in there, kind of. I might go and touch that up a little bit, but then smoother out. Got a little bit deeper than I wanted to, but yeah, so open up this valve and now I have the rest to do. Okay, so I finished up both of these intakes now, and I just want to point out, I don't know how well it shows up, but I can feel it, I can see it in person really well. There's this lip right here, and stuff like that. That's what I'm trying to get rid of and smooth out. So, right, you can see that right there on that back wall. And you come into here, and I've just kind of smoothed that whole lip out. And you can't, it's just kind of a smooth transition now. And like I said, I'm still gonna go in with that finer sandpaper and smooth that out, but stuff like that is what's really messing with the airflow. That right there. It's a process, and I gotta take my time, go slow, just take little bits at a time and just check my work often, but trying to be patient so I don't mess up the valve seats. I'm gonna kind of do a home grind on them myself anyways, but still don't want to have to, you know, pound in a new seat or anything like that. But yeah, I don't want to end up nicking a seat and having to go through these again and grind that down anymore. So I'm gonna try to just keep it simple, go slow, and try to get this to get a little bit more power out of it. Working on the exhaust valves now. This is one that I've just kind of loosened up just a little bit. You can see that nice polished ring all the way around the outside, and I tried to bring away that material all the way around it. And then I came in here, and there's kind of like a shelf right here that I've just kind of tried to smooth out a little bit, and it's still kind of there, but if you can imagine, the exhaust gas is going in and then it's firing up, so it's kind of hitting right here, catching, and then going out. So I tried to smooth this shelf out so that it can have a little bit smoother transition. And you can see here's one I kind of started around the valve, and then the shelf right there, like I was saying, is sitting there. This one I haven't touched at all yet. It's just kind of a more violent transition, so I'm just going to try smoothing that out like I did right here, and hopefully that'll give me a little bit better flow coming out. I'm not planning on polishing up this whole thing, but it kind of looks like that's the way it's going. But no, I probably would stop right here, but just going to polish this a little bit with that flap wheel disc on it a little bit, then come back in and get the rest of these. So I turned this head over a little bit, and it's kind of tough to see because I just cleaned it up. But that shelf right there that I was talking about, heck of a lot easier to get to from the port side versus the valve side. So I'm just gonna unshroud the valves from this side, and then when I come back in, I'll head up the that shelf in there too when I'm opening this up. So I don't know how well you can see it, but when I look at it, it looks pretty obvious that there's quite a size difference there. That's just opening it up a little bit. I'm not sure how much that's actually going to help since it's on the exhaust side, but you know, I don't think it'll hurt any, so I'm going to keep going and do the rest of them. Alright, so moving on to the intake ports. This is kind of where I'm worried about, because you can see exactly how thick that sidewall is. So Yeah, that looks like a lot right now, but the casting on the edge is a little bit thicker than in the middle. And I can feel that when I put my two fingers right here. They're not too far apart. Same thing on this inner wall, right here, all the way across. Like it's not that thick, and you can see quite clearly where the intake gasket runs at. So what I'm going to try to do is just kind of blend the opening a little bit. And like I said, this is what worries me because it's just so thin right here. I'm not going to go into here. I'm just going to try to blend it just here on the outside, get rid of this lip and see what happens. Another thing to note is that the valve cover bolt is right there, which is why the casting is thicker right here. So I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do about that one yet, but like I said, I'm just going to take it easy and just try to blend my way around here, and hopefully it goes pretty good. All right, so that's probably about all the farther I'm going to go on this one. Yeah, it's not perfect. It's kind of tough to see in the camera, but I kind of blended this wall, brought it around right here. So this is more into the square shape. You can see the port, that black line all the way around. That's where the intake gasket runs at. Like it's not good, but yeah, so I'll try to show it over here because it's more similar, but there's a lot of material in there that I just kind of brought back over to here and just blended it through. And like I said, I'm a little bit nervous right here because this is one of the thinner parts that I'm working with. I just don't want to break the head because I'm trying to do a more budget type of build here. But yeah, just opened it up all the way up around. And then this wall here, this was the hardest, just bringing that out. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's definitely a lot smoother of a transition right here than it is right here. I mean, the air comes in and it hits here and just kind of brings it around versus bam, hitting that right there and getting a full stop at least. So here at least it's a smooth transition into, instead of hitting a full stop on it. So yeah, with that, I'm just gonna keep working my way around and get these all finished out. All right, so fully finished now. You can see this is the other side head. So I haven't started on this one yet. This would be the before versus after. Basically all this material right in here. It's opened up, smoothed out. And these valves, honestly, they aren't too bad with their shrouding. They're pretty open, but you got that big lip right there. And that one we just took out. Now that looks bad right there, but it's smooth. You can just see the difference right there, just by allowing this space to be utilized versus not. Makes it look a lot bigger at least. Not sure what it'll end up making for power. I'm not going to dyno it, but I feel satisfied about that. Just pretty easy work. It took me about 2 hours total for this head. Going to do that again over here. I'm sure it'll go a little bit faster second time around, but I mean, it's definitely not going to hurt the power, and I kept it pretty minimal with the work here, so I didn't get, didn't go too big, so I'm not getting close to the water jackets or going through the material or anything. So I think the head should maintain most of its integrity, but should make a little bit more power too.